Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to Virtual University. I'm your course instructor for your course Training and Development, and we are here for the 26th session of this course. So far, we have discussed two broad areas of this discipline. We have discussed two broad topics of the subject. The first broad area that we have discussed is the context of training and development, from where we started by saying that the world is becoming increasingly complex and what are the various factors that create the context of training and development, and we discussed strategic training and development process for that. Then we discussed the second broad area that we have discussed is training design, in which we talked about needs assessment, we talked about learning theories and how to use them to create a learning environment. Then we discussed transfer of training, and finally, in the previous sessions, we have discussed training evaluation. Today, we are going to start the third broad category of this subject, which involves looking at various training methods. We will look at specific training methods, discuss how they are organized, and discuss what are the advantages, disadvantages, what are the various variations, and in which situations they are better applicable. We will also discuss what are the contemporary customs of using these various methods of training. Within this broad category, the methods of training are again divided into two categories. One are the traditional training methods, and the second one are contemporary or non-traditional training methods. The basic difference between traditional training methods and non-traditional training methods are that traditional training methods do not involve the use of technology. This means that the traditional training methods do not require technology for their instruction, whereas the contemporary or non-traditional training methods, they must require some medium of technology. They must require some type of technology to support that training method, support that learning method. For example, your virtual university needs to be supported through technology. A lesson, a lecture has to be broadcasted through technology in order to reach you. So technology is a must in that. Whereas in traditional training methods, technology is not a must requirement. So today we are going to talk about the traditional training methods. These training methods can be supplemented through technology use, but they do not require the use of technology. Where technology is used, the training can be provided either in real time, which is called synchronous training. For example, if you are listening to a video lecture which is being aired at the same time, which is live, that means that is a synchronous training method. The trainer is providing the learning at the same time while the trainees are receiving the learning content. The other type is time-delayed learning. Time-delayed training, that is called asynchronous. So in the non-traditional training methods, the use of technology can either lead to a synchronous training or a non-synchronous training, in which time is either live or delayed. We will discuss the non-traditional training methods in detail in the later sessions. Today we are going to discuss the traditional training methods. But you should know that this distinction, the traditional and non-traditional, is only conceptual. It means that a traditional training method, for example, a simple lecture, can become a non-traditional training method if it is a virtual lecture. Or it can be supplemented by technology. For example, if your trainer uses PowerPoint slides to project slides overhead, and the technology is being used in that, it becomes a non-traditional training method. So the distinction is more or less conceptual. The only distinction is that for a traditional training method, technology is not a must, whereas for others, technology is a must. So you can add technologically supported media into it, and it will become a non-traditional training method. All right, so technologically supported training methods are becoming more and more prevalent in today's organizations. Why is that? Because it appears that training becomes more effective, learning becomes more effective when a learning method is supported by some kind of technological support. And secondly, it can lead to cost saving. For example, अगर एक कमरे में लेक्चर हो रहा है और वीडियो के थ्रू उसको 5-6 लेक्चर रूम्स में प्रेजेंट किया जा रहा है, तो इससे आपकी वो कॉस्ट जो कि 5-6 दफा वो लेक्चर देने में यूज होगी, वो सेव हो जाएगी. और इसके साथ साथ आपका लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट भी जो रिक्वायरमेंट थी उसके मुताबिक रहेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि एक कमरे में 15 से 20 लोग से ज्यादा ना मौजूद हों, तो आप डिफरेंट रूम्स में 15-20 लोगों को इकट्ठा करके एक ही लेक्चर वीडियो के थ्रू उस एनवायरनमेंट में प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं. सो आपने वो एनवायरनमेंट भी बरकरार रखा जो कि आप चाहते हैं कि छोटा वर्क ग्रुप हो, लेकिन आपने एक ही लेक्चर को उन सब के लिए प्रेजेंट कर दिया in 5 or 6 different rooms at the same time using the same costs. So that is why technologically supported training methods are becoming more prevalent. That is what appears to happen. But when we look at research evidence, when we look at what various different training methods are being used in organizations, we find out that evidence is still not supporting the use of technologically supported training methods. So as you can see on the slide, we have a chart which shows various learning methods that are in use. This study was conducted in 2008, so the results are pretty recent. So we can say that this is the situation of current organizations. On x-axis, there are 4 training methods: virtual classroom, instructor-led classroom, online self-study, and others. On the y-axis, there is the percentage of formal training hours delivered by each method. Now you can see that the virtual classroom is being used by 8% of organizations. 16% of trainings are done through online self-study, 9% through other methods, whereas a staggering 67% of the training is still done through instructor-led classrooms. This means that a classroom training method, an instructor-led classroom training method, is still the most prevalent training method in today's organizations. It means that the shift towards technology is not perhaps going so fast. It also means that probably that is the most effective, the most simple, and the most cost-effective method of training as well. or perhaps we do not have sufficient support of technology at the moment that we can shift towards technologically supported training methods. But the point is that the effect of the usefulness of a face-to-face instructor-led training, instructor-led learning, it can never become unimportant. It will always remain important because people learn through social interaction. People learn through the interaction between the student and teacher, the trainer and the trainee. When that interaction that goes away, the learning effectiveness probably comes down. So, the instructor-led classroom training is still the most prevalent training method in today's organizations. This is a point of research, this is a point of observation for you as well, to go and find out why is it still the most prevalent training method in today's organizations. You may want to take up this topic as your topic of dissertation in your master's thesis. That why is the reason still instructor-led training methods are so prevalent in organizations. Anyhow, moving forward with the traditional training methods, there are again some subcategories of the traditional training methods. The first category is presentation methods. Presentation methods, these are methods in which trainees are passive recipients of information. Passive recipients of information means that they are not actively involved in the learning activity. Presentation is given. Presentation can be given through two types. One is a lecture and the other one is an audio-visual presentation. So in a presentation method, what can be disseminated, what can be learned through that method? Through a presentation method, the trainer or instructor can disseminate facts, procedures, processes, principles, concepts, theories, rules, and so on and so forth. So, through a presentation method, the trainee is a passive recipient. That person will only be able to gather information, will only be able to gather knowledge passively. The person is not actively involved in the actual learning process. So the person will only take away the information, the knowledge, and that may not lead to the application of that knowledge. In the presentation method, again, there are two categories, the lecture and the audio-visual presentation. A lecture is a method in which the trainer communicates through spoken words what they want the trainees to learn. It is the least costly and the least time-consuming training method, in which large amount of information can be provided in the minimum time. It can also be employed to train or teach a large number of trainees. A lecture can take various different forms. One is the standard lecture. Standard lecture is the one in which trainer talks while trainees listen and absorb information. That is the simplest type of lecture in which the trainee, they are just passive recipients and the trainer is providing the information. The second type is team teaching, in which two or more trainers present different topics or alternative views of the same topic. Team teaching is that two or more teachers, they present in a group. They present a sequence of topics or they present different views of different alternative views of the same topic. For example, if you are learning about learning theories, one instructor talks about one learning theory and the other one talks about another learning theory. So a team teaching may involve giving different portions of the training content to two or more various trainers. Team teaching. Then are guest speakers. Speaker that visits the session for a predetermined time period and primary instruction is conducted by the instructor. इसमें पहले इंस्ट्रक्टर कंटेंट प्रेजेंट करता है, थ्योरी और कॉन्सेप्ट प्रेजेंट करता है, और उससे रिलेटेड गेस्ट स्पीकर आके उसके बारे में, उस सिचुएशन के बारे में या उस प्रॉब्लम के बारे में अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस, अपने ख्यालात शेयर करता है, और दैट इज कॉल्ड अ गेस्ट स्पीकर. Then the fourth type of lecture is a panel lecture. A panel lecture is the one in which two or more speakers present information and ask questions. In this type of a lecture, the most prominent feature of this is the component of debate in that. So two or more people, they talk about different views of the same topic. For example, they present a case study and then they talk about one solution to that situation and another panel talks about the other solution, which is a different and alternative solution to that problem. And then both of them, they ask questions from the students or they ask questions from each other that leads to a debate. So they will discuss various pros and cons of each situation, of each solution, and try to convince each other or try to argument with each other which one of the solution is better. So the students, they will be listening to that debate in which they will be listening various arguments to support the two views. That is another kind of lecture. And finally, student presentations, which are groups of trainees presenting topics to the class. So this is a different kind of a lecture in which the students are given the training content, they are asked to learn that, they are asked to discuss that, and then come over to give presentations in the class. So these are 5 different variations of the lecture: the standard lecture, the team teaching, panels, guest speakers, and student presentations. Team teaching का advantage ये है कि स्टूडेंट्स के सामने डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज डिस्कस किए जाते हैं, डिफरेंट ऑल्टरनेटिव पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज डिस्कस किए जाते हैं, और थोड़ी वैरायटी आ जाती है. पहले एक स्पीकर बोलता है, फिर दूसरा बोलता है, तो थोड़ा सा उसमें शिफ्ट हो जाता है, थोड़ी वैरायटी आ जाती है. सो उससे इंटरेस्ट उनका जो है वो इम्प्रूव हो जाता है. बट दिस इंक्रीजेज द डिसएडवांटेजेस दैट इट इंक्रीजेज द कॉस्ट ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग, इट इंक्रीजेज द कॉस्ट ऑफ लर्निंग एक्टिविटी, बिकॉज what can be presented by one person, you involve 2 or 3 people for that presentation, and obviously it involves the monetary aspect as well and time aspect as well. So if you are involving managers from your organization for this kind of a training, अगर आप एक मैनेजर से काम करवा सकते हैं, और obviously जब ट्रेनिंग करने के लिए एक मैनेजर आएगा तो वो अपना काम छोड़ के आएगा. अगर आप 2 और 3 मैनेजर्स को डिस्प्लेस करेंगे तो उनका ऑब्वियसली काम उतना ही ज्यादा डिस्टर्ब होगा. सो इसमें कॉस्ट जो है वो बढ़ जाती हैं फ्रॉम अ स्टैंडर्ड लेक्चर. गेस्ट स्पीकर्स का एडवांटेज ये है कि गेस्ट स्पीकर्स आके अपने तजर्बात और अपनी पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस डिस्कस करते हैं. सो वो एग्जाम्पल्स और वो एक्सपीरियंसेस ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग होते हैं क्योंकि वो थ्योरेटिकल और कंसेप्चुअल बातों से हट के एक्चुअल तजर्बात की बात करते हैं. सो ये गेस्ट स्पीकर्स का फायदा है कि वो जो आके बात करते हैं, ट्रेनीज प्रॉब्ली उसको ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड होंगे सुनने के लिए, बिकॉज दीज आर यूजुअली स्टोरीज इन विच देयर इज सम इंटरेस्टिंग event or happening that the guest speaker wants to discuss. But the disadvantage is that the guest speaker may not relate the concept, that is being discussed in the training to the evidence to the happening, to the event of his own experiences. So if the person does not make the connection कि इस कॉन्सेप्ट का जो कि डिस्कस किया जा रहा है ट्रेनिंग एक्टिविटी के अंदर, उसका इस एक्सपीरियंस के साथ क्या ताल्लुक है. सो अगर वो ये डिस्कस ना करें तो फिर ट्रेनीज स्टोरी तो बहुत इंटरेस्ट के साथ सुन लेंगे, लेकिन वो उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को कॉन्सेप्ट के साथ नहीं रिलेट कर सकें. सो कॉन्टेक्स्ट और कॉन्सेप्ट का ताल्लुक नहीं बन सकेगा. उसके बाद पैनल डिस्कशंस का एडवांटेज ये है कि चूंकि डिबेट हो रही होती है, आर्ग्यूमेंट हो रही होती है, स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस सामने आ जाती हैं. किसी भी एक सोल्यूशन की, किसी भी एक वे ऑफ ऑपरेशन की स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस डिस्कस की जाती हैं और स्टूडेंट्स ये देखते हैं कि कन्विंस कैसे किया जा सकता है एक सोल्यूशन में स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस को वे करके किस तरह से उसको अप्लाई किया जा सकता है. उनके जहन में जस्टिफिकेशंस, जहन में आर्गुमेंट्स हो सकता है, उनके जहन में कोई और थर्ड सोल्यूशन जो है वो उनके जहन में आए और वो कहें कि नहीं, द टू सॉल्यूशंस दैट यू आर डिस्कसिंग, हमारे पास इससे बेहतर सोल्यूशन है, हमारे पास एक थर्ड सोल्यूशन है जो कि इससे बेहतर हो सकता है. और फिर वो उसको ऑन बोर्ड ले आए, उसको डिस्कस उसके बारे में डिस्कशन शुरू हो जाए और फिर उनको ये पता लगे कि उनका सोल्यूशन, उसमें क्या स्ट्रेंथ्स हैं, उसमें क्या वीकनेसेस हैं. सो इस तरह से एक वाइब्रेंट एनवायरनमेंट में डिस्कशन हो सकती है जो कि बहुत बेनिफिशियल हो सकती है उनकी अपनी सोच को मोबिलाइज करने में, उनकी अपनी थिंकिंग को मोबिलाइज करने में कि मुख्तलिफ चीजों को किस तरह से जस्टिफाई किया जा सकता है या किस तरह से उनके लिए कन्विंस किया जा सकता है. इसका नुकसान ये है कि एक पैनल डिस्कशन के लिए ये जरूरी है कि कॉन्सेप्ट्स और थ्योरेटिकल मॉडल्स किसी भी एक पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन के साथ जो रिलेटेड हैं उनके बारे में नो हाउ बहुत अच्छी हो. सो ऐसे ट्रेनीज जिनके पास कॉन्सेप्ट्स और थ्योरेटिकल मॉडल्स की नो हाउ नहीं है, वो उस सिचुएशन को, वो उस डिबेट को अंडरस्टैंड नहीं कर सकेंगे. सो ये इस तरह का लेक्चर जो है, इस तरह का अरेंजमेंट जो है, वो उन ट्रेनीज के लिए अप्रोप्रिएट नहीं होगा जिनकी बेसिक स्किल्स उस पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट, उस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक के बारे में एक सर्टेन लेवल तक ना हो. उसके बाद स्टूडेंट प्रेजेंटेशंस आ जाती हैं. स्टूडेंट प्रेजेंटेशंस का फायदा यह है कि स्टूडेंट्स जब कंटेंट को पढ़ते हैं, समझते हैं, समझाने के लिए, प्रेजेंट करने के लिए, तो उनके जहन में बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स, बहुत सारी डायमेंशंस क्लियर हो जाती हैं और कंटेंट का रिलेशनशिप विद लर्निंग बहुत स्ट्रांग हो जाता है. लेकिन इसका नुकसान ये है कि अगर ट्रेनीज की प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स बहुत अच्छी नहीं है तो एक तो वो प्रेजेंट बहुत अच्छे तरीके से नहीं कर सकेंगे, जिसकी वजह से बाकी लोगों की लर्निंग इफेक्ट होगी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर एक ट्रेनिंग कंटेंट है और उसको 5 हिस्सों में डिवाइड करके आप टॉपिक नंबर 1, 2, 3, 4 डिफरेंट 5 ट्रेनीज को दे देते हैं और आप उनको कहते हैं कि इनको प्रेजेंट करें, तो अब एक ट्रेनी की प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स तो बहुत अच्छी हैं जिसने टॉपिक नंबर 1 प्रेजेंट करना है, तो बाकी सब ट्रेनीज को टॉपिक नंबर 1 तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझ आ जाएगा, लेकिन बाकी 4 की प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स नहीं अच्छी. सो अगर उनकी प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स अच्छी नहीं है, सो जो बाकी ट्रेनीज हैं वो इससे इफेक्ट होंगे, क्योंकि उनको टॉपिक नंबर 2, 3, 4 और 5 बहुत अच्छी तरह समझ नहीं आ सकेगा. क्योंकि हो सकता है कि उन ट्रेनीज ने तो समझ लिया हो, उनको समझ आ गई हो, लेकिन उनकी प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स नहीं अच्छी और वो बाकियों को नहीं समझा सके. तो इसके लिए जरूरी है कि आप ऐसी सिचुएशन में ये मेथड यूज करें जहां आप ये श्योर हैं कि प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स आपके ट्रेनीज की बहुत अच्छी हैं. सो ये वेरियस एडवांटेजेस और डिसएडवांटेजेस हैं लेक्चर की वेरियस वेरिएशंस को यूज करने के. सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द सिचुएशन, हाउ मच मनी यू हैव, हाउ मच टाइम you have, what kind of trainee mix you have, you can use different kind of variations of a standard lecture. Lectures के कुछ disadvantages obviously हैं. पहली बात तो ये कि it lacks feedback, it lacks interaction, and therefore there is lack of meaningful connection to the work environment. So because the participant is only a passive participant, it is involved passively in the learning activity, therefore you cannot get feedback from the recipient's end. So it lacks feedback, and therefore a lecture also lacks connection with the work environment, because the work environment is not discussed, the work environment is not presented. Only methods or concepts are presented or disseminated, knowledge and information is disseminated, so the relationship with the work environment is not created. The second disadvantage is that it is difficult to analyze the skills of the trainees, the level of understanding, the level of knowledge of the trainees from a lecture, because a lecture will start, शुरू करेंगे आधे घंटे, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour, जितने का भी लेक्चर होगा उसमें कोई स्टॉप नहीं होगा, कोई पॉज नहीं होगा. अगर क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन होगा भी तो वो एंड पे होगा. तो ट्रेनर को ये पता नहीं चलेगा कि उसके सामने जो लोग बैठे हुए हैं उनका बेसिक लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है, उनका बेसिक लेवल ऑफ स्किल क्या है. सो वो विदाउट एनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द ट्रेनीज स्किल्स एंड एबिलिटीज, द लेक्चर विल बी डिसेमिनेटेड. सो इट इज डिफिकल्ट टू जज क्विकली एंड एफिशिएंटली द लर्नर्स level of understanding. Another problem of a lecture is that it appeals to only one sense of the learner, which is the hearing sense. आप सिर्फ सुन रहे हैं, उसके अलावा आपकी बाकी सब सेंसेस जो हैं वो एक्टिवेट नहीं होती. और सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट सेंस यानी आपकी देखने की सेंस जो है उसको डिफरेंट वैरायटी नहीं मिलती, उसको अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए कोई और चीज़ नहीं मिलती. और आपको पता है कि हम ग्राफ्स और चार्ट्स और विजुअल प्रेजेंटेशन से बेहतर तरीके से सिचुएशन को अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं, बजाय इसके कि हमें पढ़ के या अल्फाज के थ्रू बताया जाए. सो चूंकि आपकी विजुअल सेंस जो है वो एक्टिवेट नहीं होती, इस वजह से जो इंटरेस्ट है वो उस तरह से डेवलप नहीं हो सकता और लर्निंग बहुत इफेक्टिव नहीं हो सकती, बिकॉज ओनली वन सेंस विच इज द हियरिंग सेंस दैट इज यूटिलाइज्ड इन अ lecture method of training. So, in order to improve the effectiveness of a standard lecture, different activities can be involved in that. Different kind of activities such as question answer sessions, such as discussing examples, such as discussing case studies, and involving games as well, that can improve the effectiveness of a standard lecture. So there is no limit, there is no restriction on involving various kind of interesting activities to improve the effectiveness of this very simple kind of training and learning activity. Now the second type of presentation method is audio-visual presentation. Audio-visual presentation involves overhead slides, presentation slides, and videos. Overhead slides, projector slides, they are not sole method of learning. They are used to only supplement learning, whereas videos are the kind of presentation methods which can be used as an entire source of learning, as an entire complete method of learning. So you will not need to supplement it with another form of learning. For example, if you just play overhead slides, that is not going to make any learning, that is not going to activate any learning. You will need somebody to explain the content, you will need somebody to explain what is being presented, whereas a video is an entire complete method of training which can be used without any other supplements. So videos are used to give trainings in such kind of situations where you want people to see and learn. These kind of situations can involve learning of communication skills, because you cannot talk about communication skills. These can involve doing a particular procedure, for example, operation of a particular machine or the procedure of some skill or art that can be shown on a video which cannot be talked about in words. And then videos can be used to present situations which cannot be replicated or which cannot be developed to show to the trainees in real life. So it can be used for communication skills, it can be used for presentation skills, for skills that are required in carrying out a particular procedure. For example, a surgeon conducting an operation, or a barber doing a haircut, or a makeup artist doing the makeup of a person. So all these things, all these procedures which cannot be actually demonstrated through words, but needs some kind of visual demonstration for the person to understand what are the various dimensions of that process. There are various advantages of using videos. First advantage is that the trainees, they can review, stop, and fast forward the video if it is required. So they can increase the pace of learning or decrease the pace of learning if it is provided, if the option is provided for them to fast forward or rewind or stop the video. So the learning can be self-paced on part of the trainees. Then the trainees, they can watch the videos multiple times. So if they do not understand one thing by looking at it once, they may want to look at it 2 or 3 times, and that would improve the effectiveness of the learning process. Then videos are very useful in demonstrating situations which cannot be actually shown. For example, if you are giving a safety training, let's recall the same example of the bakery in which the employees, they were skipping over the conveyor belts and putting their hands in to pick out jammed products, jammed materials. If you want to show, अगर आप ये दिखाना चाहते हैं कि किसी एम्प्लॉय ने हाथ डाल के चीज निकाली और उसका हाथ क्रश हो गया खुदा न खास्ता बीच में, दिस इज समथिंग दैट यू कैन नॉट एक्चुअली डिमॉन्स्ट्रेट कि ये करके दिखाया जाए. सो सेफ्टी ट्रेनिंग में एक्सीडेंट होते हुए you cannot show, you cannot replicate an accident to make people understand. So it is important, it is very useful in situation where the event or happening cannot be replicated so easily. So it is useful in demonstrating situations like equipment malfunctions, angry customers, and emergencies. Another advantage of videos is that trainees are provided with consistent instruction. इसका मतलब ये है कि वीडियो में जो ट्रेनिंग कंटेंट है वो कंसिस्टेंट रहेगा, वो सेम रहेगा, इवन इफ ये वो वीडियो 10 दफा भी प्ले की जाती है या जितनी दफा भी प्ले की जाती है, वो उसका कंटेंट कंसिस्टेंट रहेगा. सो वट एवर द ट्रेनीज विल रिसीव, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी कंसिस्टेंट. वेयर एज दूसरे ट्रेनिंग मेथड्स में, फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेक्चर में या ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग में, training content, because the audience is changing, because the recipient is changing, और interaction हो रहा है information देने वाले का और information लेने वाले का, उस interaction की वजह से training content change हो सकता है. या अगर instructor बदल रहा है, अगर कोई और instructor आके instruction दे रहा है, तो उसका training method, उसका way of instruction, that could be different, and that could lead to a different kind of learning effectiveness. So an advantage of videos is that the training content remains quite consistent. Then video training can also be used in another format such that the trainees are videotaped for showing them their performance. So if video is used to record the performance of the training and then the recording is shown to the trainee, then the person can evaluate his or her own self in that performance. So the evaluation will be free from this bias that the evaluation has been done by some other person. The video is going to show that this is the performance of the trainee. So if videos are used in this method, in this mode, they can be effective to show the performance and can be used for evaluation of the person, which can remove the bias of the evaluator from that. And another advantage is that it requires minimal knowledge of technology. So it only requires you, the trainer and the trainee, both they need to use the CD player or the VCR to use this technology. They should just know how to plug in and how to play the movie, how to play the video, and that is all that is required to know about the technology of presentation through a video. So that is another advantage, that minimal use of and know-how of technology is required. So these are the various advantages of video lectures. Now we have discussed the first category of traditional training methods, that is presentation methods, which involve lectures and audiovisual presentation. Now we are going to talk about the second category, which is hands-on methods. Hands-on methods का मतलब ये है कि employees या trainees अपने हाथों से खुद काम करके सीखते हैं. So hands-on means that things they go through your own hands, and you learn through using your own hands. You learn through experiencing the situation, experiencing the learning process through your own hands. So hands-on methods में पहला method जो है training का वो है on the job training, or in short we call OJT. On the job training is a training method that requires the trainee to be actively involved in the learning. So on the job training के बारे में आपने सुना होगा. ये मेथड ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग बहुत कॉमनली इस्तेमाल होता है. सो बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के स्टूडेंट्स को ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट तो काफ़ी क्लियर होना चाहिए. सो ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग इज यूज्ड फॉर ट्रेनिंग न्यू एम्प्लॉयज or inexperienced employees by showing them the procedures that are being demonstrated by their managers or by their peers. So on the job training, it can be used to train newly hired employees. It can be used for cross training. It can be used for upgrading experienced employee skills, and it can be used for orienting transferred or promoted employees to their new jobs. In this, the trainees, they first of all observe the behavior. They first of all observe what the manager or their peers are doing, and then they try to replicate that and imitate that behavior, imitate that procedure or process. On the job training में क्या होता है कि trainees प्रोसेस में साथ इन्वॉल्व होते हैं. वो एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे होते हैं, पहले वो ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, फिर उसको रेप्लिकेट करते हैं, फिर उसको खुद से करने की कोशिश करते हैं. सो इट इज अ वेरी क्लोज एक्सपीरियंस विद द एक्चुअल वर्क लाइफ. दैट कैन बिकम वेरी इफेक्टिव, एंड इट कैन ऑल्सो बिकम इनइफेक्टिव डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ द ट्रेनिंग इज conducted. But first of all, let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of an on-the-job training method. The first advantage of on-the-job training is that it can be customized to the experiences and abilities of the trainees. जो training भी करवाई जाएगी job के ऊपर, वो customized होगी. Whatever the person will learn, it will be customized according to the abilities and skills that particular person holds. So अगर मैनेजर को ये पता चलता है कि इस बंदे का स्किल लेवल अभी इतना नहीं है, सो मैनेजर उसको उससे नीचे वाले स्किल लेवल से ट्रेन करना शुरू करेगा अगर अप्रोप्रिएट है तो. सो इट कैन बी कस्टमाइज्ड अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्किल्स एंड एबिलिटीज ऑफ द पर्सन. देन द ट्रेनिंग इज इमीडिएटली एप्लीकेबल टू द जॉब. because you are learning and applying it on the job immediately. So the learner becomes quite interested in learning the learning content, because he knows, उसको ये पता है कि ये जो मैं सीख रहा हूँ इसको मैंने अभी अप्लाई करना है, अभी अपनी जॉब पे अप्लाई करना है, और अगर मैं अपनी जॉब सक्सेसफुली परफॉर्म नहीं करूंगा तो आई विल लूज दैट जॉब. सो जब एप्लीकेशन बहुत इमीडिएट हो जाती है उसमें परफॉर्मेंस इंप्रूव हो सकती है. Then OJT has another advantage, is that it saves costs, because you do not have to administer a separate training program, you do not have to hire trainers, you do not have to design an entire training program. So OJT can be carried out in the most natural conditions of the organization. That is the least there is least intervention in this kind of a training method. So it can save a lot of costs, and it can be offered at any time to the trainers while they are working in the organization, at any time where the trainee is available and the manager or colleagues who have to provide the training, they are available. So it can be carried out at any time. A separate time slot does not have to be ensured for that. So these are the various advantages of OJT. But there are disadvantages of OJT as well. One disadvantage is that different people will use different ways of showing the same procedure. It depends on their own skill level and their own way of conducting a particular procedure, how they are going to show that. So a manager may be using a different procedure for carrying out the same process, whereas the colleagues may be using a different kind of a procedure. And it will also depend, a manager may be more skillful and the colleagues may not be so skillful in doing the same kind of a process. So the disadvantage is that if you are assigned to a different person, you will be exposed to a different kind of training content. Then an OJT overlooks that feedback, demonstration, and practice are important conditions for effective on-the-job training. OJT में inherently उसके design में feedback का, practice का, content, practice की dimension involved नहीं होती. So ये manager की या training करवाने वाले की अपनी discretion पे है कि वो feedback दे या वो practice करवाए या ना करवाए. तो चूंकि वो उसके डिजाइन में इनहेरेंटली एडेड नहीं है, तो जो उसका बेसिक कंटेंट है वो इन एस्पेक्ट्स को ओवरलुक कर रहा है. सो इसमें पॉसिबिलिटी है कि जो लर्नर है उसको फीडबैक ना मिले, उसको प्रैक्टिस का मौका ना मिले, बिकॉज इसमें ये पॉसिबिलिटी है कि मैनेजर या ट्रेनर या कॉलीग्स जिनके ऊपर भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है ट्रेनिंग करवाने की, वो इसको एक इनफॉर्मल वे ऑफ ट्रेनिंग कंसिडर करें और वो ये समझें कि नेचुरली इंसान सीख जाएगा, नेचुरली ट्रेनी उनको ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है तो सीख ही जाएगा, और ये वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने ऊपर ना कंसिडर करें कि हमने इसको सिखाना है, हमने इसको फीडबैक देनी है, क्योंकि उसके डिजाइन में कोई ऐसा कंपोनेंट मौजूद नहीं है. So it overlooks the importance of practice and feedback. Then, because it is considered an informal method of training, it may become very unstructured. So when a process becomes very unstructured, there is no particular process that is followed, there are no particular steps that are followed to conduct that training. In that case, it is possible that it becomes so informal that learning does not occur at all. Because the learners, they will feel, and the trainers, they will also feel that this is something that will naturally occur. There is no need for intervention. There is no need to make an effort. So, ना trainee की तरफ से effort आएगी, ना trainer की तरफ से effort आएगी. So जब एफर्ट नहीं होगी, बिल्कुल ही बीच में से निकल जाएगी, दोनों का परसेप्शन ये है कि नेचुरली चीजें हो जाएंगी, सो उसमें पॉसिबिलिटी ये हो सकती है कि लर्निंग हो ही ना, आपके ट्रेनीज कुछ सीखें ही ना, या इट वुड टेक अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम फॉर देम टू लर्न. So these are the various disadvantages of on-the-job training. So therefore, we need to understand that although on-the-job training is an informal method of conducting the training function, we should realize that there must be some structuring of this activity. It would become more effective, it can become more effective if there is some structure added into it. So the people who are responsible to conduct OJT, they should consider some kind of guidelines. They should develop some kind of structure. So there are certain guidelines that if they follow, they may improve the effectiveness of the OJT process. So first of all, the trainers, they have to prepare for the instruction. ये नहीं समझना चाहिए कि ये ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग है, ये नेचुरल ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेस है, सो इसके लिए कोई प्रिपरेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी. द इंस्ट्रक्टर, द पर्सन हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर कंडक्टिंग द ट्रेनिंग मस्ट रियलाइज दैट प्रिपरेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इट. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग द इंस्ट्रक्टर शुड डू इज दैट ही शुड ब्रेक डाउन द जॉब इनटू वेरियस डिफरेंट पार्ट्स एंड realize himself that this job is done by doing these different parts. Then the person should prepare necessary equipment, materials, and other things that are required for the training process. So he should ensure that equipment or machines or materials that are required to that are required to perform on the job, they must be available and ready for the people to use. And then he should decide that how much time does he want to devote to OJT and at what time he is going to use to conduct this training, to talk to the trainees, to show them the processes and to give them feedback. So he should allocate some time during his routine, during his schedule, that this is the time that is most convenient, this is the time in which it is most appropriate to conduct the training. For example, अगर सेल्स मैनेजर है और उसने कस्टमर सर्विस की ट्रेनिंग अपने नए हायर्स को देनी है, उस सूरत में वो ये डिसाइड करे कि ये टाइम जो है इसमें कस्टमर्स का रश सबसे कम होता है, फ्रीक्वेंसी सबसे कम होती है, इस टाइम में वी हैव अ क्वाइट बिजनेस, तो इस टाइम में हम अगर ट्रेनिंग करवाएं, अगर हम इस चीज को इम्पोर्टेंस दें, फोकस करें इसके ऊपर, तो ये ज्यादा बेहतर होगा, बजाय इसके कि आप उस टाइम में अपनी ट्रेनिंग एक्टिविटी करवाना शुरू कर दें जिसमें कस्टमर्स सबसे ज्यादा मौजूद हैं, उनका रश है और आप साथ में ट्रेनिंग करवा रहे हैं. दैट वुड बिकम दैट वुड क्रिएट डिलेज और प्रॉब्लम्स फॉर द कस्टमर्स एज वेल. So one is that you should prepare for on these particular aspects. And the second thing is, the second part is actual execution of the training. So while you are executing, you first of all must tell the objective of the task and ask them to watch you demonstrate it. So पहले आप उनको ये बताएं कि इस टास्क का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है और फिर आप उनको demonstrate करके दिखाएं. The first time you demonstrate them how something is done, do not tell them anything that this is the process that is used for this particular process. Do not use any words to explain that. Just show them that this is how things are done. Then you should ask them to observe you when you are doing a particular process. And after they have observed you once, then tell them the key points of that process. आप उनको एक दफा दिखाने के बाद उनको key points जो हैं वो वर्बली बताएं कि ये इस प्रोसेस के की पॉइंट्स हैं, ये की बिहेवियर्स हैं जो कि आपने शो करने. उसके बाद आप उनको दोबारा दिखाएं दोबारा डेमॉन्स्ट्रेट करें. एक दफ़ा आपने उनको बगैर बताए डेमॉन्स्ट्रेट करना है, फिर आपने उनको वर्बली एक्सप्लेन करना है, और फिर उस एक्सप्लेनेशन के बाद आपने उनको दोबारा डेमॉन्स्ट्रेट करना है, the same process that you have done with them. And then after that, you ask them to replicate small parts of the whole process, one at a time. And finally, you ask them to do the whole job completely on their own. And if they are doing it well, you should praise them. If there are any mistakes, you should give them the chance to practice. You should give them the time to practice. And when they have mastered the skill, you should praise them and appreciate them and recognize that they have learned. And during this time, you should also make them realize that this is the time in which you are expected to master this process. You are expected to master their skill. So you also give them a timeline, a deadline in their minds, which can give them orientation that this is the time in which we should be ready and we should have mastered the skill. So these are the various steps that are involved in conducting a better OJT rather than leaving it all to natural process, to natural learning activity. In today's session, we have discussed traditional training methods, and within that we have talked about presentation methods, which is lecture and audiovisual presentation, and then we have started our discussion on hands-on methods, in which we have talked about on-the-job training and the advantages of disadvantages of this type of training method. We will continue the discussion on hands-on methods. There are certain more methods that we are going to discuss under this category. So we will continue our discussion in the next session. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.